I should totally believe that until fucking Orla fucking over. You're like, no, they don't. And they, oh, just gold. I was like,
one of the things that I try to do in the video works is I try to use the camera really to, I guess, really kind of closely kind of interrogate or kind of look at these places, not really in the hope that I will find some kind of actual evidence of what happened there. You know, this is the corner where something happened. This is the place where, you know, I remember this happened to me, or I was here when this happened. That kind of sense that these places bear the essence of some story or some event.
look at that badass. He brought it home for me. I don't know, I can't accept this great honour.
Gordon Gaze, that was such a big referendum. I mean, that was intensely going to amend about 70 clauses for the Constitution, and yet no one's getting out. Is that, I mean, do you think that that's a problem as well? I mean, had it been a pause, if you're going to blood and have the Oireachtas, that's a major amendment. But so people aren't engaging, so we're fed up. We don't like our politicians, we don't like the way the economy's running, but we're not out there.
Because we have it too good, you know, like different apathy, because we're at a certain level of comfort where we don't have to kind of, you know, protest because we're just comfortable enough.
Nothing's ever changed. I look, I'm like, apply ball or whatever, so I'm like, yeah.
What happened to this? I mean, when the pensioners protested outside the door, when the medical card was taken off those, the rest probably wealthy enough to pay for their own medical care. They protested in huge numbers, and that did. So we have seen people take action. I mean, those that voted to retain the Shannon, they retained that. I mean, so it's not like, whilst I am frustrated with things in the country, there is democracy. People want to get out there and say something, but we're not saying much. So how are you doing yourself? Are you well?
Yeah.
What's your opinion on market economy?
Market economy? Well,
Sorry, who says first?
well, the whole consumerism type. Well, I'm sort of anti.
You're not recording it, are you?
Oh well, no, the camera's not on. That's on because this is connected, and it won't take it.
As long as you're not recording.
Well, I'd be sort of whole anti-media or anti-consumerism because I try and see through what they're trying to.
What they're trying to say?
Trying to sell us. Yeah. Not that I always know, but I like to kind of be aware of what's happening.
What other people think? Consumerism now is a massive part of the society that we're in. We're subjected to advertisements every minute of the day. We're being told that we need things, we want things. But do we feel that we buy on it, or we have friends and family that buy on it? Do we think it's a good thing?
Like, I know this is wrong, I still want that thing, you know? There's only so much waiting for it to come from the charity shop to be here.
I'm completely against it. Like, I was in Dublin 2 weeks ago and I seen my sister, she's only 14, and like she was just going to Dublin with €200 in her pocket straight into Hollister. She was in there 15 minutes and like she got tracksuit bottoms and a t-shirt and perfume, and €200 was gone just because all of her friends had it. And I couldn't stand to watch her do it. I had to leave.
You're dead, right?
I couldn't believe it, and the fact that they only employ pretty people as well, I couldn't be in the shop. It was ridiculous.
Last one in the house. It's like that, like an automated perfume spray that sprays.
That's not Abercrombie. Everything I know about this is different from Abercrombie.
Abercrombie and Fitch is like,
It's really dark inside.
it's really dark and
That's
like,
disgusting.
really loud music.
And then so that looks a lot like a perfume spray, but it sprayed right in my eyes. And I was asked to leave, it's like, ah! And it's like, you have to go on there and
I was
scare
saying,
me.
I'm finding the whole concept absolutely vile.
Yeah, no, I can't.
It kind of epitomises the worst aspects of the consumers.
Yeah.
Culture. A lot of people in Dublin buy it.
But like, I think you're always quite into it on some level as you're making your own clothes. Like actually not following anyone fast. Yeah. It's I think it's kind of funny to say like, no, I don't follow anyone. Follow some of it regardless.
But there are things that we do need. We do need clothes. Well, otherwise. But generally speaking, when we agree that we do need some clothes, we need footwear, we need certain things.
You got your polarizing photo on that?
There's need and there's want. And so it's one thing to go out and buy things that have a practical use and sustain a decent quality of life. And then there's what comes after. Then there's the service. And there's a lot of shit out there that advertisers tell us that we need and tell us will make our life better. You know, tell us that we want. It's a lot of people we haven't come said we want whatever.
Okay, not yet.
Yeah.
Before him.
Before? Did you speak to anybody about selling? I don't know if we're going to sell them.
No, we're just going to walk.
Well, let me just check.
We would not be able to sell anything like that from the building. If you wanted to stand outside, we can't really stop you doing that, but we wouldn't be able to have you selling things like that inside, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Is that alright?
There's
No, we have our own shop here, so we do, you see, so we wouldn't have anything like that. It's all been kind of authorised by the artists themselves. So we'd have to.
Go and do it outside.
Aye. These are art students. Aye.
That'll save us.
Yeah, no, it's his project, so.
I mean, if you want to see.
Like, it's nothing offensive.
No, it's unofficial. Yeah, there's
I know.
Can you officialise it?
No, it would be up to the artist to do that, and TNC else
number?
doesn't. No.
Put them on the phone.
But you can do it outside. Yeah,
Yes.
outside the building. It's just we can't have it on here because it would be seen that we would be supporting that, so we couldn't
Oh, okay, yeah.
do that. If you know what I mean. So
Yeah.
if you wanted to stand kind of away from the entrances and exits, but you could do that, and the rest is like public space out there.
Yeah,
Okay?
cool.
Next update of the iPad, whatever, they come with that to us and tell us we really want this. This is the best thing since Wasteland's behind. This is a new best thing. I mean, does anyone else feel that?
Yeah.
But the fact that they can do that, that's bad enough, but it's the fact that people still keep buying into it. Like, yeah, of course, that's their job. They're going to make people see things, but people are going to keep buying into it. Like, it's still the consumers that are still saying, oh yeah, I do need this, I do want all these things, but necessary to have them. So it's kind of more mentality of people who are actually buying into it than, you know, it's much.
Is that mentality like organic or is it produced? I mean, your sister's only 14. That's very young. I mean, I feel because I talk to people non-stop about this, and most adults who come on here kind of articulate a sense of dissatisfaction with our society and with our kind of economics, and express a dissatisfaction and a lack of fulfillment and the consumerism and with all that we buy. It doesn't mean much in the end. They're not that overjoyed with it. But yet when the little kids come on, when the school groups come on, and I ask them what they want to be like or what, a number of, like even primary school kids are just cha-ching, and like they had a little boy tell me that's why I wanted to learn football. It wasn't because of love of football, it was because of cha-ching. And you know, I asked secondary school kids and they say to me, I don't really care what I do as long as I get paid a lot. So many people are just driven by this idea of financial remuneration. There's no sense that you have to do anything worthwhile or honest or enjoyable or creative. I mean, there's so many kids that just get sucked into this sweet 16 kind of life that's shown to them on the telly. It is. And then what's even more depressing is that when you have a say in your society and you can vote and change things or sit in the house and don't bother doing that. I think it was really helpful.
And what? What? Action figures, that's the point of the action figures. You know you don't need tiny things together.
That's it. For example, I have never dreamt of a huge scale action figure. You brought that to the market, but when I just said, like, any advertising, I just said, you have felt the boy. As the market works, I think it's worthwhile endeavor. I know that's, you've created something there. That's all. How you doing? Alright. Well, you can try to what's your opinion on the market economy? Really? Everyone else has been talking. Oh, you're already talking.
He's lying. You didn't. What's his name?
So how long is up in Derry for anyway? Oh.
Got a winter friends.
Go to San Diego's. Pay more, much better place. Do you know where San Diego's is?
No.
Have you been in? Go in, it's beside the bus stop, so you know where the bus comes on.
Our bus dropped us here.
Oh, okay. Okay, let's like cross the bridge and just ask the first people you see where it's at. Seriously, you'll like it. It's like the one really cool bar in pounds. It's worth checking. I mean, it's not going to be cheap as well, but like it's cheaper than Dublin. Probably cheaper than Waterford as well. Alright, listen, it was very nice to talk to you all. And you go down the stairs and go up to the guy at the reception desk and say cauliflower. Alright, can I do that for him? I have to take more than chocolate. I'm not going to do it.
We need to stay there.
Maybe I've got this pocket. £2. Thank you very much. Hey, what's your name? Luke here, nice to meet you. That's all it is, folks.
I've always thought of it as being a very kind of strategic place. And I think there's something about the actual physical topography of the place itself that kind of lends itself to that. The fact that it's a city that's divided by a river, so there's a west bank, there's an east bank. It's a city that's got hills, so it's got these vantage points and kind of viewing positions. It has the walls built on a hill, which adopts this kind of very conventional relationship with the terrain below. So and you can sort of read it very clearly here. It's very clearly laid out, and it's because it's not a big place. It's almost as if you can actually see it and understand it, and I think part of that then allows you to kind of, I guess, really feel it on the streets as well, because and I think the processes of memory here are really they are quite raw and they're very close to the surface, because we've just emerged from this conflict that was kind of all-consuming for 40 years or more. So in the show itself, what we tried to do then is make a selection of works that kind of represent different phases of the work. So there are some of the early photographic works the black and white photographic works with text. There are some works from the era when I was working with Cibachrome. I talk about his eras here, isn't that great? That's how old I am. And then there's more recent work, and we have a few video works as well. But I guess the idea of unseen, of something being kind of unseen or invisible, is something that I've been interested in right from the outset, because I'm not really a photographer, but I'm interested in how photography is used, both by kind of artists, but also how as a society we still have this very, I guess, very clear understanding that photography has a relationship with the truth, and an interest in this kind of act of witnessing, and in the role of the photographer as a kind of impartial witness. So, and that was something I think that troubled me to some extent when I started making photographic works, and it was certainly something that troubled me when I looked at the way in which Derry had been represented by other photographers. So this work at some level set out to both address that and also to contribute to that body of images. So I think at the outset, I mean, I was interested in the idea of how can you photograph something that can't be seen. And at that time I was thinking specifically of covert surveillance, for example, and also just the kind of day-to-day banality of being in a place like this, you know. So it's that kind of reality alongside the kind of reality of this is a place where there was a war happening, but that was not something that was visible or perceptible every day, so it was kind of sporadic, if you want. So I wanted to try and make work that really spoke to that other reality, that reality of living in a place where you live with a degree of uncertainty, with a degree of unease, and you know, photography seemed like both a useful tool to do that and an absolutely useless tool to do that. So that was really my kind of starting point.
It's fucking raining like.
I mean, well, I wasn't really interested in the kind of idea of the decisive moment. You know, I wasn't looking to kind of be there at that moment in a kind of riot situation or something, you know, because in a way that kind of represented the kind of photography that I was trying not to make. So I had more time, you know, I didn't have to be there to cover specific events, and I didn't have to be there at a decisive moment. So I had more time to kind of allow things to unfold, and that's kind of really what I did, you know. So you're right. The part of the method or the methodology was walking. So I walked the streets, and I had a camera with me, and I felt a degree of discomfort about carrying a camera at all. I didn't want to be identified as a journalist or as a tourist. So I kept the camera in a plastic bag, and when I saw something that I was kind of interested in, I would whip it out and take a photograph. I didn't use a tripod. Everything was handheld, really, so that I just wanted to be kind of invisible, I guess, or I wanted to not attract attention to myself. Maybe because of the idea of danger that you've alluded to, but I mean, you know, in reality it wasn't that dangerous, you know. I mean, I was never out in a kind of situation where I was in the middle of a riot, but I did experience a sense of kind of unease or kind of paranoia when I was out working with a camera, really because I was aware that everyone was being watched. So I knew that I was probably being watched, walking around and photographing things or places. You don't really have the perspective of hindsight, you know, so you're just kind of trying to do something at the time, you know, you're just trying to kind of work your way through it, and you know, every time you kind of make a work, it raises as many questions and doubts as it answers, you know. These were events that would happen in a space, you know, as a kind of a one-off event. So you're very kind of dependent on other people to kind of give you the things that you ask them for. So I mean, I wanted a couple of projectors or something, and so you depend on people giving you those things, and you know, to me there was a kind of loss of control, you know. So, and I felt that the work was often compromised because I couldn't quite get the things that I needed. So I stopped making that, and then when I started making the photographic works, it kind of felt more like I was back in control, that in the sense that I controlled what happened within the frame. The camera kind of moves through the streets, and maybe for the first time kind of evokes this idea of that beneath the streets themselves there is this kind of material, this kind of substance, which is kind of related to memory, the possibility that this could be excavated, that this could be looked at. What do we remember and what do we forget, and what are the kind of processes that we can use to do that? I mean, but it's never expressed as overtly as that. But there is a constant kind of push and pull between, you know, what we kind of remember and who can remember, and what we can forget, and, you know, who is you know, and what can be sort of denied and kind of forgotten about. You know, sometimes when you're in a place, you're not really aware of the, you know, it kind of merges into the kind of street furniture to some extent. But when you look at it, the place is actually full of, you know, all kinds of attempts to kind of construct various kinds of memorials.